Hi, everyone, and welcome. We have another special event. Today, we're talking with Richard from Mentalyc. Thank you so much for your time, Richard. Would you like to talk us through a little bit about Mentalyc and how it's going to be of help? So, Richard is from Partnerships at Mentalyc and has kindly generously donated his time today. Thank you so much, Richard.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to be here and to walk you guys through some cool AI stuff that's going on in behavioral health and in mental health today. Um, is there any particular place you want to start? You want me to just kind of dive right in and start
Yeah,
going through?
do you want to just dive right in from the top, in terms of main
Sure.
features, main uses for psychologists, and a bit of a rundown?
Okay. Here, let me share my screen here.
Thank you.
So this is the main dashboard screen here. When you first log in, this is what you're going to see. You'll notice it's very, very clean and simple. There's not a lot of colors going on, not a lot of buttons. That's done on purpose because we're trying to make it super easy and streamlined into your workflow. And so
Yeah,
we want to make it also extremely easy for someone to jump in the first time and use it.
sure, sure.
Um,
Do you,
so
do you want to start maybe a little bit more from the top in terms of like what it's all about first? Because I guess we're seeing the demonstration here, but for someone who hasn't at all used it, like what is Mentalic all about, I guess might be a
sure, here, then let me I'll actually hop to a demo deck here.
sure.
Um, So this is why we're doing what we're doing. So in
Yeah,
2023, over 50% of therapists in the US reported feeling burnt out. And I feel like
yeah,
that's something that's very similar to what's going on in Australia as well. Um,
100%.
the top three reasons are one, administrative burden,
Yeah.
two, battling with insurance companies. And then the third part is actually using just general AI scribes. And
Hmm.
so a little bit to go into each of those. With the administrative burden, you're getting that lack of work-life balance, right? Because
Hmm.
you're having to do your session notes. One session note may take up to 15 minutes, maybe
Yeah,
20 minutes or longer. And so now
yeah.
you're having to do all this stuff in between clients, or at the end of the day, you're not able to kind of sit down and spend time with your family, relax, unplug. Um, the other piece to that is also capping your caseload. So
Hmm.
now I'm at a loss of being able to take on new clients because I'm spending all this time doing administrative work. So
Hmm.
that's hurting my caseload.
Hmm.
Um, with battling insurance companies, there's clawbacks, and then there's the training and actually monitoring staff to get these session notes done and done correctly. And
Mm.
that's where the templates come in. So the templates I'm just going to get to in a minute help a practice owner or clinical leader standardize the way these notes are going to be formatted. So when
Hmm.
a session audio is uploaded and then it generates the session note, it's going to be in the exact format as you choose. So it could be in a SOAP note format, it could be in a
Hmm.
DAP note format, whatever it is, and it's going to
Hmm.
be automatically compliant with your insurance company. So that's it's a peace of mind for therapists and for practice owners. And
Hmm.
then lastly is the use of general AI compared to something like Mentalyc that has the behavioral health background. So for example, let's say you're sitting down on a session with little Joey, and for the
Hmm.
first 20 minutes of the half-hour session, Joey's talking about his dog. That's
Yeah.
not clinically
Yeah.
relevant.
Yeah.
And so the last 10 minutes of their session, let's say you actually jump into and that's the meat and the bones of the session, right? That's where something actually happens. So
Hmm.
a general AI is going to generate this entire note, and the first three quarters of it's going to be all about this dog, right?
Hmm.
With ours, it understands what's clinically relevant and like the subtle nuances that actually happen in a therapy session, and it could pick those out. So the session
Hmm.
note isn't going to have all this mumbo jumbo of what's not actually relevant. It's going to be very clinically relevant. So
Hmm.
that's super important to note.
Brilliant.
Uh, any questions before I kind of jump on to the next?
So I'm just to be clear in terms of the focus for, because obviously our psychologists in this community are generally Australian based. And so, when you're talking about correspondence with insurance companies and these various different kinds of templates, can I just double check that you feel that these would be, appropriate to Australian clinicians?
Yes. Yep. So we do service Australia and Canada as well as the US.
Hmm.
And so everything is going to be compliant there as well.
Hmm.
Okay. Um, so this is how Mentalic was structured around. One, it was built very close relationship with other therapists so that
Hmm.
we had to be able to kind of fit into the workflow as neatly as possible.
Hmm.
We then have it's HIPAA compliant. So the way that works, when an audio file is uploaded and it's being transcribed, once it's transcribed, that audio file is completely deleted from our system. We don't save the audio file. The transcription is then anonymized. So in our system, and from what we see, that transcription is not associated with anyone in particular. So it's completely
Right.
random. For the
Okay.
clinician, though, they're able to actually see obviously who it's associated with, but in our system, we don't. Okay.
Okay.
Again, the note templates are there so that it can be efficient, and then also consistency. So there's I'm going to worry about that. And
Sure.
then of course, less admin time could lead to taking on more clients, which could increase billable time, which is always a good thing.
Yeah.
Some of the outcomes we're seeing from our clients, 90% of the note is being completed by our AI.
Yeah.
So taking the audio session, uploading it, 90% of the note is done. 95% of users are reporting an increase in efficiency and being able to actually see more clients. 86% are reporting less concern for those audits and clawbacks and having to deal with insurance companies. And then we're seeing unlocking 15 to 20 hours per clinician per month, and just being able to use this AI to take away that admin time.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I mean,
So
I think you would also note, that say clients, clinicians who need to write letters to say GPs will probably be able to get around to that much quicker. And therefore, the client experience being one of having better responsiveness with paperwork, I would imagine.
yeah, absolutely. And it also helps with that wraparound care too, because now, because the audio is listening, because it's listening to the actual session and it's going to generate that note from the session, there's going to be things that maybe, human error happens. So if you're waiting till after the session or at the end of the day to complete a session note, things are going to be left out. And so this way you're ensuring that all the important stuff, all the meat and potatoes of the actual session is going to be in that note. And then that helps that with the continuity of care and that wraparound care, because other people, other clinicians, and those involved with the case is going to see these well-nourished notes and be able to have better care provided. If that makes sense.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you.
So let me, I'll jump into the actual platform here, and we could take a look at how the workflow is.
Sure.
So this is the main dashboard screen here.
Mm-hmm.
In the upper left, this is where you're going to record your first note. I'm going to jump into that in a second. Down below will be your list of clients. You can add a new client right here, but all your clients will be listed down here.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the right, these will be notes that you have put into the system and configured, and they're ready for you to view and sign off on. So let's jump in and we could show how to actually do a note. So first, you could record it right into our system. You just hit start recording, record right into the system here. Do that with your computer. You could do that with your cell phone. Either way, it works.
So there's an
You could
app as
also,
well.
sorry, go ahead.
So there's an app as well then to be able to do that. I would.
It would be, you would use it on your web browser. So you
Right.
would use Google Chrome, Safari, whatever it is you have on your phone,
Sure.
and you would do it that way. Yeah, it's not an
Sure.
actual app.
Okay.
You could dictate, if you wanted to dictate your session afterwards, it would then take that session and configure it into a session note for you.
Sure.
You could upload an audio file, of course.
Mm-hmm.
So if you were, for example, doing telehealth and using Zoom or something like that, you could save the audio recording, upload that into the system, and it will do the same thing. And then you could also write your session in there, of course, if you choose.
Sure.
So for today's example, I'm just going to grab a random audio file that I have for an example.
Mm-hmm.
Click open, and it's starting to upload the note.
Sure.
When it's finished uploading, you're going to hit configure and generate. I'm just going to hit that now.
Mm-hmm.
You'll enter in the start time, the duration, and the stop times can be automatically generated for you. You'll put in where the session took place, enter in the client's name. I'm going to pick Anna. And then the number of speakers. So we currently are able to do couples, and we could do families up to 4. So you would be able to select which one of those you would like. So for this example, we're just going to click individual. You would select your note type, which I'll get into templates in a moment of how you could actually edit those, but you would select your note type. So for right now, I'm just going to choose a SOAP note. Click finish upload, and the note begins to upload. Okay. While that's happening and transcribing, I'm just going to click another note here just so we could get to it. But this is going to be your finished product. So the
Mm-hmm.
note is going to be configured and summarized into the format that you chose.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If you wanted to edit something up top, you totally can. You could change the pronouns, their age. If you went to session details, be able to edit things like that. You could also add CPT codes. We do also provide CPT codes.
Hmm.
The AI will draw out majority of the CPT codes, but we do have options here for you to select as well if it didn't pick up on something. This is a relatively newer feature.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So while you're looking at this note, let's say you're trying to remember something that happened toward the beginning of the session.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's not looking like it's in here. You could go ahead and hit this bubble in the upper left-hand corner, and you'll see the entire transcription of the session right here. So you could scroll through and find things in here. You could definitely copy and paste that into here. This is totally editable.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Or let's say you're thinking about something that happened, maybe 2 sessions ago, a month ago, and you're like, what was that? You could go
Mm.
ahead and search a past note right down here. So you could say, okay, what happened on February 28th? You could go in here and see, this is what we talked about. And you could go ahead
Mm.
and copy paste that into your note as well.
Okay.
So super easy. You then have the option, you could either download it. So you could download the note and the transcription or the note only.
Mm-hmm.
You could copy it and paste it into your EHR if that's what you're using to store your sessions. You can do that, or just hit save to records and it'll be saved here.
Mm-hmm.
Any questions on how that works and the actual note itself before I jump into templates?
No, I think that all sounds excellent. Happy for you to go ahead, but it sounds it looks enormously sophisticated, and very very impressive. Actually, with different voices, can I just ask? Obviously,
Yep.
if you're having a more than one client, multiple different speakers would enter the mix for the transcript.
Right.
And how's the quality of distinguishing different voices?
It's pretty good. It's pretty
Yeah,
good. It is a learning progress
of
for
course.
AI.
Yeah.
So yeah, so the more it does it, the better it gets. It's
Hmm.
pretty good right now.
Yeah.
But that's where the reviewing comes in, because
Hmm.
there may be some hiccups.
Sure.
But as of now, it's at a point where we're comfortable enough to release it being able to do at least 4 people, including
Hmm.
the clinician, so 5 total.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
Amazing.
There is some data you'll be able to pull. We're building this out right now. So right now you can just see talk times,
Hmm.
but pretty soon hoping to have some more data uploaded in there. But for right now, you just know that you can see talk times and how the session's broken up,
Sure.
if that's helpful. Okay.
Awesome.
So let's jump into templates then.
Yeah. Thank you.
So templates are completely customizable for whatever you're choosing. So you can configure the note header. You could choose what's in there and what's left out, what we kind of reviewed before. You could configure the terminology, so what you would like to be called,
Hmm.
what you would like the person receiving the services to be called,
Hmm.
preferences for that. And then I'm going to go ahead and click create a template. And so now we could choose between an intake, which is going to be much more detailed, or we could choose progress note and then the type. So DAP, SOAP, and several others in here, depending on what
Hmm.
you choose.
Hmm.
I've seen from my experience most using SOAP, but there definitely could be others.
Hmm.
So for this example, I'm just going to click SOAP.
Sure.
And then you would select your client type. So individual, couple, child, or family.
Yeah.
And so the reason why that's significant, let's say you're working with a child and you want to have the AI capture those interventions that you're doing with the child. That's going to be a little bit different than what you would do with an adult. So
Hmm.
you could go ahead down here, you could click interventions, and you could see that it highlights these for play therapy for children. So you could go
Mm.
ahead and check those off to ensure that that's going to be in your session note.
Sure.
Okay. It does similar things. You can see psychiatry here. So let's say you're a prescriber and medication management is going to be important. So you could go ahead into biological factors and you could check that off to make sure that the note is going to include listen for and then include this in the session note.
Hmm.
Um, What else? What else? So we also have EMDR specialties in here as well. So if that's your type of treatment that you do, you could go
Hmm.
ahead and check these off to ensure that the note is going to pick up on those and include it as well.
Hmm.
Um, anything else off the top of your head that you would hope that would be included or that you're
Well,
hoping to see in here? Go
well,
ahead.
one thing that I see that's very interesting down there is the mental status exam, because I imagine a lot of that is potentially able to be ascertained through audio, reading between the lines, I guess, around how someone sounds. So, for example, their tone of voice, etc. I could imagine AI could make a guess at. But also, what I'm curious about is how one would enter in the visual element that would be clearly missing from an audio. So, can you maybe speak to that around the mental status exam?
Yep, yep. So that's definitely a part of some of the concern is that we're only able to go off audio and
Hmm.
not visual.
Mm.
So it is getting better and better each time that it's used, picking up on those subtle nuances.
Hmm.
Um, some of the ways that I hear our clients doing it is by the way they mirror the client that they're working with and speaking about it. So it sounds like you're a little frustrated by that or saying things like
Yeah.
that. The AI picks up on that. So it's like,
Uh-huh.
okay, that was a frustrating tone. Like now I know that that was a frustrating tone. So it's able to pick up on it and associate it with that statement.
Right.
Uh, that's sort of how it's working right now and being
Sure.
able to pick up on that. That's a good question though.
Thank you. But I mean, I'm also curious, like in terms of how one is visually looking, could one say after the session, then I guess would one tell the program that the client looked this way and that way and that way, that could then inform the MSE?
Yeah, it could, if they wanted to do it that way. That may be a case of entering it in afterwards.
Yeah.
Something that won't be picked up by the AI, but something that you would just type in afterwards.
Hmm.
Because yeah, it's not going to be able to pick up on those visual cues.
Sure.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Thank you.
I wish, if we could pick up on everything at 100% of the note done, that'd be
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. Oh, look, I mean, I totally appreciate, it is a work in progress, a continually
Right,
evolving process to get it increasingly sophisticated, what it can
right.
do. But, it's so amazing what it can do already. But, I
I
can
know.
imagine every 5 minutes with the technology changing and becoming more and more advanced, it's super exciting to see where it's all sort of headed.
Right. Yeah. And it's incredible just seeing each update too, because we have update sprints, obviously. And I think every month to every few weeks we have one that comes out and just seeing how much stronger and the ability, how much smarter it gets is actually extremely impressive.
Yeah.
Um, and I actually come from a psychology background myself. I have a master's in clinical health and I was a mental health clinician for 2 years before I transitioned into doing what I'm doing now.
All right.
So when I came across Mentalic and started playing with it myself, I was super impressed. And I just immediately reached out to the founder, Maria, and was like, I need to get involved in this if you'll have me.
Awesome.
So that's how we kind of got here. But yeah, very, very impressive. Um, Trying to think of what else maybe off the top of my head. Collecting
Yeah.
consent, we make that super streamlined too. You just go up in the
Yeah.
upper right corner, you download our client consent template and
Yeah.
just print that and fill it out. Very quick and easy.
Yeah.
Um, for teams, so if you had a team
Hmm.
and you want to add or take away seats, you're able to do that. So as a
Hmm.
practice owner, you'd be able to add somebody on by just clicking add new team member.
Yeah.
You would enter their name, enter in their email. You would pick the type of seat that you would like them to have
Hmm.
and send an invite. And they
Okay.
would be able to just click in there and hop right in and enroll and start using the platform from there.
Hmm.
Um, you're then able to monitor your team members, how many unsigned notes they have that are outstanding, like over a week.
Hmm.
Um, as of now, this is as far as that goes. But some of
Hmm.
the updates soon down the line is going to be the ability to look closer at these notes that are outstanding, and then the ability
Hmm.
to kind of ping these staff members within the app to say, "Hey, George, get your note done," or whatever it is. But being able to kind of police that a little bit better, so your practice is running efficiently.
Sure. So can I just clarify then in terms of what you mean by a note
Sure.
being unsigned and outstanding? So presumably it's taking it from an earlier stage to a more advanced stage and being done with it. But can you clarify what that actually means for the clinician?
Yeah, so that means they would say they recorded the note, they uploaded it, and then now it's just sitting right here. These notes are not approved yet. These notes
Right.
are just kind of waiting for approval.
Uh-huh.
So once you actually went in, review the note, made your edits, and then clicked save to records, I'm just going to save
Hmm.
this one. Um, it'll be saved and it'll be off this screen. See, it just flew away. And then
Hmm.
that will no longer be included on here as an unsigned note. That would go down a digit. So
Okay.
to kind of monitor it that way, if that makes sense. Did that
Uh-huh.
answer your
Yeah.
question?
Yeah, yeah, I
Okay.
think I think so. So then it goes into a record. So you've got a record system then that all the clients' notes will then go into, presumably, um,
Right.
which is
Right.
where they can then be found and obtained and used thereafter as a notes system.
Yes. Yeah. And it's up to the practice owner or the clinician. Some prefer not to have notes in two different spots, so they'll
Hmm.
just copy and paste a note into the EHR and then delete it from our system. That's
Yeah,
totally fine.
yeah.
Uh, what I think and what I would encourage is saving it in here because of what I showed you earlier, how if you're sitting in here, you have
Yeah.
the other notes kind of at your fingertips, you're able to pull up
Mm.
and from. So these won't be here if you don't save the notes in our system. So
Hmm.
it's a good thing to kind of have them here for a reference.
Sure.
But if not, totally fine. You could just copy it, paste in your EHR, and then delete the note permanently from our system.
Hmm. Hmm. Excellent. Okay. So other questions, in terms of the sort of HIPAA standards and Australian privacy and security sort of principles, and where data is stored, like is there data in Australian sort of data centers? Can you speak to all of that, please?
It's in the cloud.
Hmm.
It's not saved to any particular data center.
Hmm.
So it is fully compliant with Australia, Canada, and US. I double checked with our founders and our engineering team to make sure of that.
Hmm.
And so the not saving of the audio file and
Hmm.
then the anonymizing the transcription ensures that it's up to the standards of HIPAA compliant and also being appropriate for Australia.
Sure. Fantastic. Okay. And I mean, I guess the other question we discussed earlier around the sort of success stories, which we can get some information on and post for users as a part of this video to be able to see and click and follow those links to watch. But did you want to describe any as well or introduce those?
Um, I can't. I really think it sounds good coming from the
Yeah.
clinicians themselves. I
Sure.
have three in particular that I'll send you that we actually did recently, that they've been using it for at least a year and some a little bit more,
Hmm.
and talk about how it transformed their practice. And some of the key points there would be just the ability to see more clients,
Hmm.
and also eating lunch, actually having
Yeah.
time to sit down and eat lunch, which is
Wow.
awesome.
Yeah.
Um, and then retaining staff as well was another point that somebody mentioned,
Hmm.
because it's something that will attract top talent if it's going to, you know, decrease the amount of administrative burden that they're dealing with and allow
Hmm.
them to focus on, what their degree is and what their background is actually helping the client.
Hmm.
So that was another piece that was kind of something notable. But I'm going to share the actual files with you so you could hear it from them.
Yeah.
So I think that would be most valuable.
Yeah, thank you. No, that'd be amazing. Really appreciate that. And just finally, I suppose, are you responsive to user feedback? Is that something that, you're constantly engaging with
Huge,
therapists,
huge,
psychologists, and
yes.
other clinicians to evolve the program? Yeah.
Yeah, we strongly encourage feedback, and actually right on every single note, you have this little thumbs up, thumbs down here.
Yeah.
If you clicked thumbs up, you could tell us what you liked. If you click thumbs
Hmm.
down, you tell us what you didn't like, what needs to be improved. And we highly encourage folks to do that, because
Hmm.
that's going to not only help us be able to build a stronger system, a smarter system, but help you all as well,
Hmm.
in the end. So yeah, we really take feedback seriously,
Hmm.
and encourage it wherever we can get it.
Fantastic. Okay. Any other final thoughts or information before we start sort of wrapping up?
Nothing in particular. We do have several seat levels if you wanted me to show you
Yeah,
kind of what pricing looked like and how it's
sure.
kind of broken up. I'm just
Yeah,
gonna
absolutely.
pull open the website because I think that'll be easiest. We're
Sure.
super transparent about our pricing.
Yeah.
So 3 seats, basic, pro, and super. Key
Hmm.
differences are basic. This would be for like I guess a part-time clinician. So someone
Hmm.
seeing up to 25 clients a week. So you get 100 session notes a month.
Hmm.
You're also able to record up to 75 minutes with the basic.
Hmm.
And then you do get all the note templates. You just aren't able to edit them. So you will get all
Right.
those templates. When you
Hmm.
go to your pro seat, this is you're going to get 40 notes a week, so 160 for the month. You're going to
Hmm.
record up to 130 minutes for your session, and then you're able to customize those templates. So you could add things, subtract things, and kind of customize it to the way you like.
Hmm.
And then the super, this is going to be for anybody who's seeing over 40 a week. So typically we see this for prescribers,
Hmm.
but that's going to get up to 330 notes per month. Sorry for
Hmm.
that.
Fantastic. And in
Um,
terms of the free trial down the bottom, for what period is that for?
Yes, and again, yeah, I encourage your viewers to go for it. So you go ahead and click try free. It's going to load up my account, but there's no credit card required. So you just
Hmm.
go up in that right-hand corner, click try for free. You enter in your email, and then you can hop in and you can make 30 notes for a month span of time as a free trial. So um, yeah, plenty to play around with and actually see if this thing's going to work for you or not. I think.
Wonderful. Okay. Well, thank you so much for your time, Richard. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
And certainly worth checking out Mentalyc, and we'll share the link and those demos under the video. And yeah, I really appreciate your time.
Yeah, absolutely, David. It was fun.